Oh boy, what is up? And welcome in. It's Post Loons, April 10th, 2022. Jacob Schneider from sodasoccer.com is here, and we have the pleasure, the responsibility. I don't know how we want to describe what we're about to do here, but anyways, we're here with you, alongside you, to break down Minnesota United's 1-0 loss at Austin. Loons' second loss in a row, first game in which they haven't scored a goal. But on Austin's side, it's their fifth win in 6 home matches, so they're staying hot. The Loons, on the other hand, going a little bit downhill. And Jacob Schneider, of course, contributor to sodasoccer.com, MLS Next Pro, MLSsoccer.com, E Pluribus Lunum. The list goes on. His own coverage. The list goes on and on and on. And fortunately, he's here to help us try to break down and dissect this performance from the Loons tonight. Jacob, how you doing?
First and foremost, I don't know if fortunate is the right word after watching that. I don't know if you heard on the broadcast right before the halftime whistle, there was an audio mic cue of Josh Wolf, the Austin FC head coach, on the sideline, and we heard him yell, "What are we doing?"
Taylor Twellman.
Yeah, and I tweeted this out, and my first thought was, wow, Taylor Twellman vibes here. What are we doing? Zero shots on goal, 0 saves, 0 corner kicks, and 10 fouls combined between the two sides at halftime. That was abysmal. Like, that first 45 was tough.
Yeah, that was tough to watch.
That second 45, I don't even, besides the single Arudi strike, that was not a good MLS soccer game. And frankly, I feel bad from a ratings standpoint that this was put on national television.
Nationally televised. Yikes.
So, I mean, hey, it's good exposure for the Austin FC brand. They are playing out of their minds this season. Good for them. And everyone doubted them going into the game. They beat Miami. They beat Cincinnati. Those don't count. They definitely do. Every game counts. Every goal counts. Tonight they proved it. So good for them.
Yeah, they really did. And to your point, Jacob, you hear Josh Wolf in the first half saying, "What are we doing?" It seemed like, at least in some level, Austin figured out what they were doing in the second half and were able to generate some chances and some quality opportunities. Obviously, their Rudy goal being one of them, Michael Boxall clearing one off the line being another one. Minnesota, on the other hand, not really so much. Aside from a Joseph Rosales chance in the 51st and then a turning kind of half-turn chance from Bongi in stoppage time, there really was not a lot to dissect from an attacking standpoint for Minnesota tonight. And I guess that's where we will start in our 3 things. Now, I don't have the visual aids tonight, guys, so apologies for that. But my first thing here is the panic button is definitely within pressing distance when you're talking about this Minnesota United attack. I think we've reached the sample size of games, minutes, what we're being shown to say, okay, there is an issue here. I think we're past the point of, they're still getting acclimated with each other. They're, working it together. You're 5 matches in, and you really have not shown any progress. Really at all. You've gotten a few goals. Great. Awesome. That should be the absolute bare minimum, is to score every single time you go on the pitch when you're talking about this Minnesota United attack, the pieces they have in place, the roster that they've stacked, specifically from a striker standpoint. Not even to mention the Robin Loods, the Mano Reynosos that are there on the wings and at the number 10 as well. It's been disappointing, to say the least. And that disappointment now, I think for me, from my personal standpoint, tonight is really where it went from disappointment to frustration. That there just seems to be a keen inability in the final third. And there was one moment that really encapsulated it for me. The Loons spring a counter, and Eli Hoff actually was able to clip the video of this. Kervin Arriaga springs a really, really nice counter. Outside foot pass to the right. Robin Loods there. He sends a low cross in. It's not within 4 feet of a Minnesota United player. I believe it was right at the keeper or right to the feet of a defender. And that, to me, while it wasn't really the most eye-opening, moment of the match, to me that just encapsulates how far away this attack might actually be from a cohesiveness and maybe just a tactical quality standpoint. What are your thoughts on that, Jacob?
That's tough. I mean, I kind of want to look at it and I want to say that none of the front four, regardless of who has been in there, Danladi, Fraga, Bongi, Amaria, Unu, Reynoso, Lud. Am I missing someone? I mean, none of them have really looked up to the task so far this season. And, if I said anyone did, it's Fraga in that first game. And then since then, this is his first appearance since week 1 today, and glad to see him back. Glad he's healthy. He's been dealing with some lingering injuries. I talked to Adrian Heath about him on Friday, and I discussed with him, that left wing option. You've got Bongi, you've got Fraga. Fraga and Ray have that connection. Bongi has that, so kind of that new energy that the squad has been missing. And then in addition to that, you've also got Robin Lute on the right wing, and Robin's just been a little off this season, I guess is the way to put it. And Fraga back today was a little energetic, but I mean, there hasn't been an injection of anything good in that attack so far this season. And when I say the word good, I mean consistent. I mean beneficial. I mean cohesive. Like there's single instances and moments of brilliance. I mean, every footballer has those. And the big thing here, though, is that not one of them has come from Emmanuel Reynoso. Maybe I can recall one time. And, it's not good enough. We have our 3 things. My big thing today is that Josef Rosales, he's a heck of a player. He brings aggression to that midfield, some passion, some determination, and some motivation. I think you put him in a situation where, maybe he didn't feel the most comfortable tonight when it was a 4-3-3, but in transition they had him attacking. In that situation, you shouldn't have Josef Rosales attacking. You should be pairing that midfield, whether you drop Trapp or Arriaga, you should be pairing them with an attacking-minded central midfielder. You've got 3 defensive-minded midfielders in a 4-3-3. It doesn't work. You talk to any coach, a 4-3-3 consists of a 6, possibly 2 6s, but it's typically a 6 and 2 8s. One of those 8s tends to be attacking-minded, one tends to be defensive-minded, and with that combination, you've got kind of a cohesive chemistry between all 3 of them that work. One can cover for the other, one can jump, one can drop back. If one gets caught upfield, the other one can drop in his spot, vice versa. And you didn't see that between the 3 midfielders tonight. And, Will Trapp, trademark, first 15 minutes yellow. Rest of the game, he's got to sit there and be like, okay, I can't go in for this challenge. Mm-hmm. Not good enough. That's your captain. It's simply not good enough. And a lot of this falls on to the fact that this team they don't look together. They don't look like they want to play together. They look like it's a group of 3 people, and those 3 people will play with those 3 people. Then there's another group of 3 people, and those 3 people want to play with each other. It's inconsistent. It's had some good moments, but in general, it's just not good enough.
This kind of transitions great into your second thing, Jacob. So I am going to kind of let you kind of we'll do this. I guess we'll do this snake draft style where you kind of go right into your second one.
Don't be afraid to bench Emmanuel Reynoso or take him off the pitch. Treat him like any other player. He doesn't deserve to be treated in a special manner, nor does any player on the pitch. The prime example I'm going to use here is I'm going to jump over to the Premier League with Manchester United and Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo has been benched on numerous occasions because he doesn't fit the plan of attack going into the match. He's been pulled out, just after the halftime whistle a few minutes into the second half because he's not doing what he needs to do. That's, one of the greatest footballers of all time getting pulled off the pitch because he doesn't fit. A coach can't be afraid to do that. And I feel like there's, a little bit of a situation where if we take Ray off the pitch, we're worried we're not going to score. That's not the case. Robin Lutz proved he can score. Luis Maria, he's proved he can score. Yeah. They've all done this. They've all done this on different teams without Emmanuel Reynoso. Reynoso might be one of the best players in the league, but don't be afraid to bench him. If he's not playing good, he's not playing good. If he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. Don't be afraid to take your star player and just sit him. Just say you haven't been good enough. Be better. I mean, there's the whole situation in the offseason. That investigation is still ongoing, by the way. And he hasn't been the same player since. And, whether those two things are related or not, we don't know. But Emmanuel Reynoso hasn't been the best version of Emmanuel Reynoso in quite some time. And in a time like this, in a match like this, you can't be afraid to pull him.
What's funny is that is not a blazing hot take, like in the slightest. Like, I think anybody who's watched this team for any length of time this season can sort of see and especially if they have the context for how good Reynoso has been, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the late in the 2020 season, obviously showed some glimpses last year too. This is not the Reynoso, obviously, that we have come to know from Minnesota United. It's not just strictly based off his reputation coming in. He has proved it in a Minnesota United uniform, but he has not been anywhere close to that standard, anywhere close to anybody's good standard. It's not like we're grading on the Reynoso. It's not like we're even grading on the Reynoso curve here. Like, he is just objectively taking away how good of a player he's been. Just has not been good for this team. He has not been an asset on the pitch.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy to say.
He's almost been a liability at times with the giveaways and his inability to keep advancing attack. He's the set piece guy for this team. None of his crosses have really been dangerous, aside from maybe a couple. But you're telling me that one of your other guys can't come in and do that? You're telling me based off what Kervin Arriaga has shown in set pieces, what Fragapane has shown in set pieces, you're telling me one of those guys can't come in and do equal or better just in that particular aspect of it, which is where Reynoso has arguably maybe been quote unquote best for this team this season? Like, you need to do it, A, at the very least to send a message, but B, give guys the opportunity who are itching for those to come in, because honestly, at this point, they can't be any worse. Right? What do you lose when you're just looking at the very least? What do you have to lose by doing that?
And and even then, an Emmanuel Reynoso that's in bad form is still one of the best players on the pitch. That we're not taking away from the fact that he's not one of the best players on the pitch, but when he's not one of the best players on the pitch, he doesn't do what's required of him in that position, and that's the biggest thing here. By no means are Jeremy or I saying that Emmanuel Reynoso is a bad player, or that he's been playing, like actually bad. He's just not playing to what's expected of him. And when he's not playing to what's expected of him, he's not allowed to bring about the greatness in those around him, because people feed off of his energy. Fraga feeds off of him. Robin feeds off him. Luis feeds off him. Everybody looks at Ray to be their creator. Everybody expects so much from him. And when those expectations don't deliver for, let's say 3 weeks, a good 3 weeks now, it's time to take a look, and it's time to have a conversation. And my biggest frustration is the fact that there's just an indecisiveness, and that indecisiveness relies on the 11 on the pitch, the XI, Jeremy, the 11
XI.
On the pitch.
This is Jacob Schneider special, the XI instead of the 11.
No, so the 11 on the pitch, and it's just like, at this point, there's a few individuals who have proven they should be on there. Josef Rosales, his performance last week coming on in the second half against Seattle, 100% warranted start today. He was the best player on the pitch for Minnesota United in that second half. He was very good today, too. He was by no means bad. I thought it was unfortunate that he was subbed off. But again, that's part of the formation change. That was a formation change. So I understand it. Kervin and Will, two defensive-minded midfielders. It's a decent pairing. It just comes down to consistency with the 11, but with that consistency also needs to be consistency on the pitch from those individuals. You can have an 11 you put out every week. That's fine. But if someone in that 11 is consistently not being good enough, not doing what they're supposed to, I just, and it's not just Reynoso. It's Luis Amaria too. It's that left wing position, whether it's Abu Danladi, whether it is Bongo Kulik-Longwane, whether it's Franco Fragapane. It doesn't matter who you put up there. it's just not been good enough right now. And, everyone's going to look at today. They're going to feel pretty bad because it was a pretty abysmal performance. And this probably seems pretty dreary right now, the way we're talking, Jeremy. Like, there's some positives to take away. Sure. Like Dane St. Clair, another good performance. Michael Boxall, a man of the match performance, a WWE slam that VAR did not catch, which is wild.
Good for them.
It's
for them allowing that. Sometimes you got to let the boys play a little bit,
Yeah. It's on my Twitter page. If you're watching this and you're interested, @ Jacob Schneider, I retweeted it. Michael Boxall literally lifted up a player and body slammed him to the ground. I don't quite understand how VAR did not take a look at that. Just looking at it, you're like, hold up. I missed it in lifetime. I 100% did. I saw this replay and I'm like, goodness, what sport is this? WrestleMania was like last weekend or something. So let's chill here. But there's some positive. I thought Dane was brilliant today. He's a bit chaotic at times. He's very energetic in net, but he was good. Michael Boxall, very, very good.
Really good.
Tabasi, pretty solid performance from Bakai Tabasi. I thought Kamar Lawrence had a decent cameo. Sonny Dotson was, he did what you expected from a midfielder filling in at right back. But again, it's those final 4 positions at the top of the pitch that just they're not doing what you need to, and it might be time to do some rotation up top, a formation change that might benefit a few individuals. So, anyways, I'll hand it over to you, Jeremy. We got point number 2 coming from you.
Yeah, so my second point, it kind of echoes what you were saying there, Jacob. Michael Boxall. I mean, that's like, if you were going to give a man of the match to a player on a losing team, Michael Boxall might have earned that tonight because he single-handedly or single-headedly, I should say, kept Minnesota United in this one. A really good clear off the line, a crucial block near the end of the match to keep a goal out and keep the Loons within striking distance. He has been obviously it goes without saying, he's been so solid for this Minnesota United team throughout their entire MLS tenure, going on 5+ years now. And he just continues that consistency and continues that quality. It's really, really impressive. And I really hope that when all is said and done in his career, that Minnesota United fans look back on Boxall the way, that legacy is where it should be, because man, and he is just, in a match like tonight where literally nothing else is going their way. Of course, it's Boxy that's just doing whatever it takes to keep them in it.
Yeah, and I hope he wins his World Cup qualifier playoff, and I hope he heads to Qatar. That'd be super cool for him. Great opportunity. Great. If there's a professional in this organization who deserves it, it is him. So good luck, Boxy. On top of that, though, let's jump to my point 3, Jeremy. Moving players, switching formations to benefit the individuals on the pitch. Let's not throw a makeshift formation in the final third and put Bongi at striker and Adrien Unu on the wing. Let's not do that again. Let's play a 4-4-2.
That was all about.
Let's play a 4-4-2. Let's play a 4-2-2. Let's do something that benefits these players. When Adrien Unu arrived in Minnesota, coming from Ligue 1, he had never played in a single striker system. And that comes down to the scouting department of Minnesota United, that they brought in an individual who was not familiar with their system. Obviously, players are capable of adaptation. That's expected. But when the player seemingly does not adapt, you need to adapt to him. You spent the money. You can play Emmanuel Reynoso as a 10 with 2 strikers. You can easily do that. It's a 4-3-1-2. That's your formation right there. If that means dropping Robin Lod or dropping Franco Fragapane, that's what it means. Because right now what you're doing is not good enough. United has an opportunity to change some stuff up in the U.S. Open Cup against Forward Madison FC in the coming weeks. When you head to Madison, I think this is a perfect opportunity to do that. One, Adrien Unu is a must start. Yeah. You cannot go to this game and not start Adrien Unu. He needs the minutes, he needs the opportunity, and you need to help him. You need to put out a formation that is beneficial to him. It's not that he's a bad striker or anything. You are playing to his weakness. in a single striker formation. He is better when he has someone to play off of. You look at Inter Milan in 2021 with Romelu Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez, one of the deadliest striker pairings in all of Europe, and it's simply because they have the ability to play off of each other. And now Romelu Lukaku left. He's at Chelsea now. Now Lautaro Martinez is paired with Edin Dzeko. Edin Dzeko is nearly an identical body type style of player of Romelu Lukaku. Look, they're both successful again. They replaced him with a near identical style player. And look, Lautaro is successful. It comes down to that type of thing. When Adrien Unu was brought here, you should have played to his strengths. They should be playing to his strengths still. And that includes Luis Amaria. Play them together in a two-striker formation. And if one of them's not playing good, you know what you can do? You can bring on Abu Danladi. You can bring on Bongi. You can play those players in striker positions because they're good at those too. Like, there's opportunity here. And I just frustrated, Jeremy, because I look at this.
Same here.
I look at this and I feel like I have, obviously I don't have a UEFA A license. I am not a professional coach. I don't do these things, but I like to think I have a pretty decent soccer brain. I've dedicated nearly my entire life to this stuff, and I look at it and absorb it every single day. And I'd like to think that I'm pretty smart at analyzing and understanding how the game works. And when I look at this, I just get frustrated because I see opportunity, and when that opportunity is not being taken, it doesn't matter if it's Minnesota United. If I'm watching Charlotte versus Atlanta United earlier today, when I see things on the pitch, I get frustrated because I know that there's tactical adjustments that could be made to benefit the squad and to benefit a certain individual. So there's my final third point is tactical adjustments to benefit players, honing in on the individual known as Adrien Unu.
Yeah, play to your players' strengths, right? Don't force the players to play to your tactical identity if it doesn't fit with their strengths, right?
Also, this is a subtweet to Thomas Tuchel. Don't bring in a player if you're not playing it. Don't spend $100 million on a striker if you're not going to play him in a two-striker system. Dang it.
There you go. Had to get that's only 2 Chelsea references in 23 minutes, Jacob. You're doing it. Appreciate it.
I brought up Lukaku at Inter. Why was he successful? Two-striker system. Comes to Chelsea. Hey, play with a back three, 2 midfielders, 2 wingers, and then you have fun. God, it's perfect example right there. It's so frustrated. Tactical adjustments, play to your player's strengths, not to yours as a coach.
My final thing, and we'll get to some of your questions and we'll shout out some of the people who make this possible. But my final thing is probably the most disappointing part of all of this. This is the first time all season that Minnesota had a nearly full strength roster. I would say nearly because there were a couple of minor omissions. Obviously, Fragapane didn't start. He came off the bench. Metnair didn't start, came off the bench. But so that's why I just say nearly full strength. But it was basically a full strength roster. Everybody who you expect to see in a starting 11 for Minnesota entered this game at some level. Aside from Chris Gasper, of course, who we hope is doing well. But
the only individuals who were not available were Patrick Weah, who is out for the year, Chase Gasper, who is unavailable. It genuinely was. There were no individuals who weren't available beyond those 2, and those 2 we knew, last week would not be available. So, obviously, Metnair returns to the pitch. It's 2022 debut, if I recall correct.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So obviously the game's going to get better with Romain. The Ethan Finley Romain Metnair connection was pretty awesome to watch just from a pure footballing perspective because of the chemistry they had. And then Robin Lod kind of developed that with Romain Metnair last year, and we haven't had that yet this year. So, the simple introduction of one individual could change everything. And if, Lod is unleashed, maybe that helps Reynoso. Maybe that takes a little weight off his hands, or off his boots, I should say. There's definitely possibilities here, but it just comes down to expectations versus reality versus tactical adjustments versus playing to your player's strengths.
There you go. All right. Obviously, y'all have a lot of thoughts, questions, comments, opinions on this match. If you want to leave your thoughts, kind of get your voice heard on the stream, head to our YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com and search Soda Soccer or search Post Loons. You'll be able to find us here. Unfortunately, the Twitter comments don't necessarily make it to our feed here, so we do apologize for that. But Christian chimed in right off the bat. Actually, before we even got started, he was very, very eager to get this point. He says, I don't know where to begin. Terrible game. If I have to find something specific, it's getting really old watching Ray give the ball on bad passes and touches, taking terrible low chance shots, etc. Yeah, we've expressed our frustration with Reynoso's performance. Mr. Geldy says, nice to see Metnair and Franco back out there. Hope that pulls some of the puzzle pieces back together. Yeah, I mean, those two have been absolutely crucial.
That's a good take.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good take. And it's something to look forward to and be optimistic about, because those two just individually have been so crucial to Minnesota United's success. And maybe we're seeing that more now, especially from Franco's perspective, because we've actually seen Minnesota United quite a bit without Roman Metnair, unfortunately, because of his injury issues that date back to last season or even before that. But for Franco, this is our really first glimpse, first taste of life without Franco Fragapane for, multiple matches in a row. It's how disjointed this attack looks. I thought in the first match against Philly, Franco specifically looked really, really dangerous. And I was really, really excited and optimistic about what he was going to bring this Minnesota United attack. And then suddenly he's off the list. Bongi looks good. Bongi looks, impressive. There's a lot to be excited about with Bongi, but
Bongi looks raw.
He's not Fragapane. He's raw. Exactly. He's, there's a lot of skin that needs to be shed from Bongi in order for him to become that player and that attacker that we inevitably, or that we hope he inevitably becomes for Minnesota United, where Franco does have that real solid background and obviously what he's brought to this team. So with him specifically, I really hope that brings together this Minnesota United attack. But obviously having Roman back is huge in that own perspective too. Let's see. Here we go. Here's a Chelsea reference for you.
I've been laughing at this one for like a minute.
Here's Alphabet. This team has got a Chelsea 2021 January Frank Lampard vibe about it right now. Yikes.
I wouldn't say that it is that bad.
No,
that's a bad time.
I would agree. I do like the Chelsea reference though.
A big shout out to Adrian Heath and Eric Durkee for remaining Everton's fans during this dark time. That Frank Lampard is their manager. As much love as I have for him as a footballer, as an icon, as an idol of mine, my God, is he a bad manager? He's just not.
I was not a fan of the move when it was made, Jacob. Everybody was so excited, and I was like, this is not going to work. At best, okay, I'm going to make this point, this Everton point, and then we're going to move on. At best, what happens? Lampard has a great year with Everton. Maybe they get in like the top 10 or 8 or whatever. And then what happens? He'll get poached by another big European team, just like the previous managers have, who have had success. Everton is not a destination place, especially for big names. So when you bring in a big name manager, at worst, they crap the bed. At best, they do well, and then you lose him, and then you're right back in the situation you were in. I hated that move at the beginning. I hate being proven right in this particular case because he's been terrible. I can't even watch Everton at this point, really. If it's on at a convenient time where I don't have the kids around me or whatever, I might pop them on. But I don't go out of my way to watch Everton this season because it is just an absolute dumpster fire. Okay.
Yeah, so I see a comment. You don't need to put it up. I'll just talk about it. Just about that set piece from Ray, the one that you mentioned earlier. It's examples like that. The delivery from Ray hasn't been on point. The balls, the giveaways, everyone's seeming to notice it. It can't become a commonality. And on top of that, I see some Sarge at the bottom agreeing with my formation take. Good taste, Sarge, because hey, I'd like to think that I have a pretty good take there too. It just comes down to, as a coach, you have to be humble enough to know when you do things right but you have to be humble enough to know when maybe you do something wrong. And Adrian Heath has done that on occasion so many times. He's come forward to media post-game and said, I didn't get this one right. Last weekend against Seattle, for example, he came forward and said, I should have started this match in the 4-3-3 because we looked better in it in that second half. And that's probably why he went with the 4-3-3 today. And it made sense. They looked good in it. I don't know why the 4-3-3 from last Sunday didn't show up today. The personnel was basically the same. I mean, it just comes down to individuals and their performances. But I don't think by any means that this is, largely an Adrian Heath problem beyond maybe not playing to the strengths of his front four. I mean, his coaching on a defensive note, you can't ask for anything better at the moment. This defense is playing phenomenal. For the inconsistency they've faced over the season, God, they haven't had a first choice front four all year or back four all year. Not once. Not even today. Hassani Dotson's not your first choice right back. I'm sorry. He's done a remarkable job with his defense. And it just comes down to individuals in the midfield making stupid decisions. Will Trapp with his fourth straight yellow card in the opening, I think it's 19 minutes. It's not good enough from your captain. And he knows it. He talked to media about it after the Sounders last week and said he has to do better as the captain, as a leader. And, and then it comes down to the inconsistency in his pairing. Like Kervin, Yosef, Hassani, it's rotation. It's rotation. They need to stick with two. If you're going to play that 4-2-3-1, pick one and make the others fight their way back like Adrian Anu has to right now. I think that's the best way to do it because this team's not going to get chemistry if you keep changing things up. And even though the performances haven't been good, sometimes you just have to throw them in there and for a few games and see what happens instead of every other game changing. Like, for example, with Ray, that's 5 games, right? 5 games where he has been rather underwhelming. The 6th game might be a chance where you say, hey, 5 games was enough for me to see that something's off. Let me give you you're going to come off the bench today. Give that midfield pairing 5 games. As an example.
Yeah. I think this team has showed the more that they're provided an opportunity for continuity and cohesiveness when they're able to get pieces in place for multiple matches that good things can happen. Right. And I just think they haven't been given that opportunity. You can blame injuries, you can blame, other circumstances, but at the same time, you like you said, Jacob, sometimes you just got to throw the same guys out there and allow them the opportunity to gel. This team really hasn't been, for all we talked about how, we're frustrated and kind of maybe we're past the point of, giving an out to sort of this disjointed nature of the attack. You can also say that they really haven't been provided the opportunity to gel because you've had 3 different left wingers at this point, or 4. No, 3. You've had 3 different left wingers at this point. You've had 1 different striker. But to that point, like you need consistency. And yes, if Franco is out, that provides a lot of issues. But at the same time, against Seattle, it was Donladi on the left wing instead of Bongi, who had been playing pretty well over the last couple matches and opportunities he was given. So again, there's been sort of even with the injury issues, there's been opportunities to keep the same guys in the lineup, and it hasn't really been came to fruition, I guess. But anyways, I'm going to shut up about that and talk about our good friends over at Stimulus Athletic. They have been with us since the very beginning. 10,000 Pitches as a podcast launched in, I believe, May of 2020. It's almost 2 years ago now, and Stimulus has been with us since the very, very beginning. Jason Moore and his team have been very, very trusting of us, and they are very, very good local business doing awesome things for the lower league, college, high school, soccer communities, really providing an opportunity for them to wear really, really good-looking kits that are comfortable to wear, and you're not going to break the bank to do it either. Quality game gear and apparel at affordable prices is what Stimulus Athletic is all about. Teams like Minneapolis City, Joy Athletic, Vlora, Dynamo St. Cloud, the Anglian national team, Tulsa Athletic, all really successful clubs have utilized Stimulus for their game gear and apparel. And there's a reason for that. It's really, really high quality stuff. So go check them out. If you are kind of entering your season, or maybe you're planning ahead for the future, wondering who is going to outfit your club with game gear and apparel, give Stimulus Athletic the opportunity to earn your business, because they earned ours at 10,000 pitches. We earned theirs in return and helping us out. So definitely check them out if you are in that position. StimulusAthletic.com. You click that Get Started button. Now, if you're also just, maybe not the owner of a soccer team, but you're looking for some pretty awesome athleisure wear, Stimulus has that up on their website as well. You can buy that on their website, StimulusAthletic.com. Go check that out. Really, really cool stuff from Stimulus. Again, a great local business doing great things specifically for the soccer community. So again, StimulusAthletic.com. Click that Get Started button. Let them know that Jeremy and Jacob from Post Loons and 10K sent you over there. We've got a few more comments rolling in here, Jacob. We got NE Big Blue here. Says, who do you think the starter at left back for the rest of the season should be? Lawrence over Fisher for me, even when Gasper gets back. What do you think about Lawrence's performance tonight, Jacob?
He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything right. He filled in the gap and did what was asked of him. Didn't exceed expectations. Didn't not meet them. And it's obviously it's a debut. I'm not saying go score a goal. I'm saying do what's expected of you, and that's what he did. It's tough to make any sort of statement off of 63 minutes. I think he played something like that. And O'Neal Fisher is also a league veteran. It'll be a battle. Good for them. Fight it out. And until Chase Gasper is healthy, and I hope that he returns healthy, and I'm sending my best wishes to him right now. Chase is a fantastic individual. He's been very kind to me over the years. Always been a friend. Always stops by to say hi at training. I hope that he's getting the help he needs right now, and I'm wishing him the best. And when he returns to the pitch, he should be given the exact same chances that both O'Neal Fisher and Kamar Lawrence are being given right now. So I think that sums it up. Kamar will have a chance to start. O'Neal will have a chance to start. We'll see what happens. But also, dark horse, keep an eye on Devin Padelford. He's been one of the rare bright spots for him in UFC 2 through 3 weeks. Keep an eye on him. That's all. I'll just say that.
All right, Jacob. So let's kind of get into some of the specifics that happened over the course of the match. Sure. We didn't get a shot until the 25th minute, and it was Minnesota. Forced a turnover, a little 1-2 from Ray and Robin that actually looked really good. Sets up a really nice shot for Lud, which goes just wide of the post. And then 51st is when we got that shot on target, courtesy of Joseph Rosales. Caught it great with the foot, but it's right at Stuver. Let's talk about the goal here, though, Jacob. 58th. Austin building up some attack. Maxi Urruti and Mekhi Debasi sort of make contact in the box. No penalties called. Urruti's down. Then he gets up off the ground, but nobody marks him or even closes down on the passer. They sort of just forget about him after he goes down. Wide open in the box, receives an open ball, and one times it past St. Clair for the goal. Just give me kind of your overall thoughts on that sequence that led to the opener.
This might be one of the few times you'll ever hear me say it, but I agree with Alexi Lawless and his post-game take that diving is an art form in soccer. If you're good at it, you're good at it. If you can do it the right way, plaudits to you. Maxi Urruti is a skillful diving artist. He knew exactly what he was doing. He's done it. He's a veteran in the league. He knows exactly what he's doing. Good for him. Genuinely, he knew exactly what he was doing. And I applaud him for it because it is a tactic and it is a way to score. That's just it's just as simple as that. Is he knew what he was doing. He's a veteran number 9 and he knows how to find the back of the net. One of those ways is to do exactly what he did. Skillfully dive to the ground, make sure no one's around him, get back up, turn, shoot, boom. Good for him. Simple as it is.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. I guess I didn't notice it when it happened first, but then they went to the replay and really showed how when Urruti goes down, sort of the C parts, right? And he is just right there wide open in the box. So it's very, very easy to find him for that goal. Yep. So yeah, I mean, kudos to him for making that happen. Minnesota did use all 5 of their subs tonight. We got Fragapane and Fisher on for Rosales and Lawrence in the 67th. Metnair making his 2022 debut on for Trapp in the 68th. You get Hunu on for Amaria in the 80th and Bongi on for Lud in the 81st. Good call on the subs tonight, Jacob. And then obviously there's a formation change that went with those. Obviously Hunu coming on a little bit late. Same with Bongi as well. Would you have switched up the attack a little bit earlier, kind of seeing the lack of quality from it, or were you okay with that?
I mean, I understand Pete's perspective. His best 11 in his eyes was on the pitch. His best 11 should be scoring. If I'm a coach, I keep my best 11 on as long as I can too. Mm-hmm. But at some point, there's got to be a look in the mirror and say, Luis to the bench. Maybe it's Abu Danladi that starts. Maybe it's not even Adrien Hunu. Like Abu Danladi lit up preseason. He was the best preseason player for Minnesota United. Maybe it's him. But at some point, those adjustments need to be made before the whistle. I don't necessarily blame him for his substitution patterns in today's contest because his best 11 was on the pitch, and his best 11 should be scoring those goals.
All right. And then I believe 90 plus 5, or excuse me, let's get the Boxall clearance off the line, the due it deserves. Let's see, 77th minute. There were two chances actually here for Austin. One, the first one actually, this is one that brought DSC off his line, requiring that clearance off the line from Boxall. So I mean, just an excellent individual effort to keep the Loons in it. And then there was actually one after that, which ended in a bicycle kick opportunity from Ring that went wide. So obviously two big crucial chances there for Austin, but Boxall coming up huge with the clearance off the line. And then really good play when you're talking about the quality in defense in the 82nd minute. This is something that really stood out for me. So Minnesota gets a great chance to go off a set piece. Doesn't go their way. And then Austin springs an immediate counter, and they have numbers. But the Loons do an excellent job of getting back. I mean, you're seeing multiple guys just on a dead sprint back. And it's Asani Dotson who makes the chance-saving challenge from behind to turn possession back over. Talking about individual efforts. Obviously, the boxing one off the line is the one that's going to sort of pop to people. But that's a really, really good effort from Dotson to keep Minnesota in the match and give them another attacking opportunity.
Yeah, and I don't think you're necessarily wrong. I just don't think that anything was good enough. Any of the attacking balls. I don't think, you threw Bonk in there to try and cause some chaos. Like that's all there was to it. Nobody expected him to score. Yeah.
Muddy it up.
That's all the ending was.
Yeah.
I think if you're Minnesota United, you look at this and you say today was not good enough. We're back to training on Monday. Tomorrow morning. Get on the flight, get home, get some sleep, do an afternoon training session, and see what happens. Because, what are you going to do, It's not like Austin FC are a bad team. Everybody expected them to be. They're playing out of their minds right now. By the way, today's performance was without their designated player and their attacking midfielder, Cecilio Dominguez. Dominguez is currently being withheld from team activities due to an ongoing and pending investigation by MLS for activities outside of the game. And that happened Friday. They had 2 days to prepare without one of their designated players, and they came out and put on this performance. Good for Austin. And by all means, Minnesota United has had a very, very, very tough schedule to begin the year. I think, everybody might be pressing the panic button a bit too early. Strength of schedule for Minnesota was the most difficult in the league through the first, 6 weeks in terms of strength of schedule. And everybody, when you go and play the Chicago Fire, everybody's like, ooh, all right, easy game. Nope, psych. They have Xherdan Shaqiri. They've got a player they've got their Emmanuel Reynoso, the guy who can do literally anything out of nothing. If he shows up, you're screwed. If Emmanuel Reynoso shows up, Chicago's screwed. That's what it comes down to with teams like this. By no means is this, panic button's being pressed a bit early, but I will say the frustrations with Emmanuel Reynoso are warranted. The frustrations with Luis Amaria are warranted. the frustrations with the tactics and formation are warranted. Like, I can't get over that enough. Those frustrations are valid. The panic button is not. The Heath out hashtag, it's not valid. In my eyes, by no means. Who are you going to bring in? You're going to get rid of Adrian Huth. Who are you going to bring in that is going to bring you to the playoffs this year, that is going to, bring the best out of a group of players he doesn't know? Heath has brought in good players. It's just about, it's the puzzle pieces are there. If you can connect those puzzle pieces over the course of the season, we'll be fine. Shit, the Loons started 0-4 last season, guys.
Yeah.
They're 10th. They're 10th. They're mid-table. They're fine. They're not great. They're fine. And when you're fine, you can build upward or you can build downward. This right here is kind of the stepping stone process. You can go up, you can go down. But right now, you're mid-table. You're coasting. You're chilling. By no means was today the end of the world. It's just time to start evaluating and looking at other options.
Yeah.
On the field, not with the coaching. Goodness. Yeah. I know someone's going to look at that and say, yep, I agree. No, I'm talking on the field, not with coaching. I think Heath's done a fantastic job with this squad so far. And I think anybody who's calling for him out, I just don't think you understand how difficult of a position he's put in with individuals, because as much as we all want to see Atherton and Anu play, as much as we all want to see him succeed, he also didn't really do what was asked of him when he was able to last fall and last summer. So there's a lot of ways to look at this, and I think it's super easy to hone in on one angle and just be stuck with it. He's not playing him. He should go. He's not doing the things I want. Get him out. We're not winning. It's the coach's fault. Obviously, there's the whole thing with him being the coach that, that guilt lands on him, that, if there's frustrations, they land on him. I get that. Right. But it also comes down to the personnel on the pitch, and the personnel you need to be looking at is that front four, because they are the ones underwhelming.
For sure. All right, we'll get into some of our final thoughts in a minute, but first, got to shout out our friends over at Pence Homes. If you are on Twitter at all in Minnesota soccer sphere, you know who Nate Pence is. And if you've met Nate Pence, which I actually have had the pleasure of meeting Nate, I actually only met him once. I met him at the Minneapolis City watch party over at 9th Street for their U.S. Open Cup match. Just an excellent guy. And obviously, he's been a huge supporter of us and what we're doing here at sodasoccer.com. And not only is he a really good guy and a supporter of Minnesota soccer, he's also really damn good at his job, which is he's a realtor specializing in the Minneapolis-St. Paul community. And if you just go to pencehomes.com and read all these reviews, you see how good Nate and his team are at matching you up with the right house or making sure you can get your house sold for top dollar, and doing it in an effective way in this market. Because as if you know it, if you've been reading anything, this market's pretty hectic right now. So Nate is the one that can sort of cut through all the stuff for you and help you out in that process if you're looking to buy or sell a home in Minneapolis or St. Paul. So go to pencehomes.com or email Nate directly, nate@pencehomes.com. I see that right there, PENTZ homes.com. If you're looking to buy or sell in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, that's pencehomes.com. All right, so what we got coming up here, Jacob, we got Colorado on Saturday. So you got 6 days to sort of stew on this one. Take what you can learn from it and apply it to Colorado. Obviously, we've talked about potential personnel changes that can be made, but what's the one thing that we need to see from the Loons in this Colorado match that just maybe has been missing, that you think can sort of maybe turn the tide here?
Jeremy, we've been live for 49 minutes, and I'm pretty sure I've said his name 45 of those minutes, and it's Emmanuel Reynoso. Yeah. You need your best player. And I don't think he's going to get dropped. I think that's, I just don't see it happening. But if he is, bring him off the bench and see what happens. See what kind of attitude he has towards that. Because if I'm Emmanuel Reynoso and I'm dropped, I'm pissed off. But if I'm looking for one big change, I'm looking for early aggression from the attacking front four. Find that early goal. Get that opener in the first 15 minutes on the road, and then feel free to maybe sit back a little bit and then go again in the second half in those first 15. The Loons have been good in the first 15 so far this season.
Yeah, it's kind of an opposite of where they were last year.
Against the Sounders, they were the best team on the pitch in the first 15 minutes. Today, I don't think either team was good in the first 15 minutes.
Neither team was good in the first 45, Jacob.
Yeah. Hey, you know how you do a 1, you just do this, and then it's a 4.
There you go.
But I'm just from a neutral's perspective, by no means, because everything I say, I am not a Minnesota United fan by any means, and I always stress that when I'm talking to people. By no means do I look at anything from like a fan's perspective. I am a media member. I am neutral, and I write about the team. It's my job, and with it being my job, I'm allowed to ingrain things in my head that probably fans don't. And I think I look and I want to see more overlap play between the fullbacks and the wingers. I want to see, if you're going with 3 midfielders again, I want to see someone primarily looking to be an attacking-minded midfielder that Emmanuel Reynoso can do 1-2s with, to pair it with Luis Amarilla. I don't think we're going to see any drastic formation changes. I think we're going to see what we know. And it just comes down to the personnel showing up. So personnel shows up, more overlap play between the wingers and the fullbacks for sure. Good distribution today from Dan St. Clair when the opportunity was given. Very, very little. But if you can get Dan St. Clair's distribution on point, hit the counter, I think there's so much opportunity. But also start Franco Fragapane. Fraga needs to start.
Yes. If he's healthy, start him for sure.
Because there seems to be a connection with him and Ray.
Yeah, I completely agree. My I guess one thing I would want to see is a lot more direct play in the attack. There's way too much side to side for me tonight. Way too slow getting into any sort of attacking sequence. They really relied on there were just a few chances where they were able to get long ball counters. And that's really the only direct play that we saw from this team all night long that they were able to, and that's when they were able to generate decent chances. Yeah. So you got to be more direct. You've got to be more north-south with the way you want to play, especially with the struggles for Reynoso. Playing side to side and try to meticulously work your way up the pitch with the way Reynoso's playing, and specifically the turnovers that he's incurred for this team. It's just not working right now. And so one of the best ways to sort of negate that is to just sort of get forward and maybe get him the ball, but get him off the ball quick, which is crazy to think that's what we're saying about Reynoso. But sort of maybe just use him as a small piece in generating attack. Again, I'm smiling and I see you laughing while I'm saying that too. It just seems so
I was
weird.
yawning. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. It's late. It's 10:08 p.m. on a Sunday. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where there are some changes that need to be made, and I don't think we're anywhere near to the point of the season yet where we're saying, okay, these changes aren't being made, so we need to completely abandon ship and abort mission and start from scratch. We're not anywhere close to that yet. Minnesota United has 8 points in 5 matches. That's 5 points better than they were last year after 5 matches, I believe. So I think you can build off this in a way that, I mean, they were able to make something out of completely nothing last year. So you can definitely make something out of this moving forward.
Yeah, you can definitely. The West is competitive though. You got to play your best You got to play your best week in and week out, and you got to start producing. I think, I just think that Minnesota United has got opportunity. They've got the pieces, put them together, and you've got a good team. I'm not going to say that about their second team. Work to be done there, Jeremy. And then UFC 2 was bottom of the MLS Next Pro table. But I'll just say, there's room for growth. It'll come. It has come the past couple of years. But what it comes down to is if it's going to become consistent, and the consistency is key. We'll see what happens. It's a frustrating night for Minnesota United fans, I can tell. My Twitter timeline is full of negative comments. My Twitter timeline is full of hashtag Heath out. My Twitter timeline is full of bench Luis Amarilla. It's just there's a lot of negativity surrounding the loss tonight, and I get it. But like Jeremy said, it's a better start than last season. You've got one player basically going to the World Cup. You've got a second who has a chance to go to the World Cup. You've got individuals who have been called up for their national teams, multiple. You've got a 21-year-old South African international who is dancing on the pitch, it feels like, when he's there. The pieces are there. The atmosphere at Allianz Field is there. The fans are there. Sometimes you just need to be supportive and not so negative and be optimistic, because a lot of the times it makes for a better watching experience for you and those around you. And instead of doom scrolling on social media, seeing all the negativity, just be optimistic that when you go to Colorado next weekend, you'll have a better performance. So I think that's the biggest thing I could take away from today is there just seems to be so much negativity surrounding this game that from a fan's perspective, don't absorb it. It ain't good for you. From a media perspective, it's not necessarily negativity. It's stats. It's stuff we put in our heads. It's how our brains work. When we talk about it, it's not like a fan. We talk about this stuff like this is part of our work, Jeremy. And we look at it differently. So I think a lot of people also got to sit back and look and realize you're doing better than you did last year. You've made the playoffs 3 years in a row. You've got the personnel. Yes, individuals are playing poorly, but it'll come together. It's the beginning of the season. So, yeah.
And I'm approaching this completely as a fan, and I'm not doom scrolling. So
yeah,
it can be done if you're a fan. It can be done. I'm living proof. One last shout out before we get out of here. I hope you stick around and hear about our friends over at 9th Street Soccer and Coffee. You've heard us talk about them a little bit already on the show tonight, but it really is kind of a hub for Minnesota soccer and the Minnesota soccer community, specifically here in the Twin Cities. It's part indoor soccer, part coffee shop, two of Jacob's most favorite things, soccer and coffee. And you can get your pickup in and then get your pick me up for the from the coffee shop. It's a really good kind of 2-in-1. Also, if you're one of those work from home people that have the flexibility to maybe work from home but in another place, they always have soccer on at 9th Street, so you can go sit in the coffee shop at 9th Street, watch some soccer while you're doing your work. It's just a really, really cool spot. And they also have watch parties periodically for Minnesota United road matches throughout the season. They had one tonight for the Austin match. So just follow them on social media at 9th Street MPLS. You can see it right down there, spelled out NINTHSTREET MPLS. Or also check out their website for all the info. That's 9thstreetmpls.com. Derek and the team at 9th Street have been just so awesome to us. And so we hope that you support them as well. 9thstreetmpls.com. Jacob, I have just one more comment before we get out of here. I love the Chacon and Ted Lasso double you got there behind you. Good vibes all around. I love it.
Hey, Tomas always makes an appearance on Post Loons, Jeremy.
Tomas forever.
Yeah, and if we just look up a little bit, we've got Didier Drogba. It's kind of hard to see. Didier Drogba's winning penalty against Manuel Neuer in the 2012-13 Champions League. So we've got a little representation here. I should mention his name. Didier always makes an appearance too. I've got him in the background. The Zoom camera's just a little zoomed in today. But, Ted Lasso makes me happy. Tomas Chacon, a fantastic bit. And Didier Drogba, the best ever do it. There
you go. All right. That's how we end Post Loons tonight. We hope you check us out on Saturday following the match with Colorado. Maybe some more good vibes after that one. We shall see. But again, check out everything we're doing at sodasoccer.com. Jacob Schneider, John Marthaler, Dominic Jose Bazonio, Eli Hoff, all doing some great stuff on the website. So if you haven't checked us out yet, Let me try that again. SOTA soccer.com, your new home for soccer coverage in the North. We appreciate your support. Thank you guys so much, and we will catch you Saturday.